Time now for Armchair Adventures.
I've been expecting you, and you're right on time. I have a story for you, a story of the king of the great walled city of Killarney in far-off Burma. Now, King Waribo was a good king, as kings go, but there was one thing he could not stand, and that was for anyone to laugh at him. That's why he flew into such a rage when his brother sent him a gift. The gift was an animal called Sadhu, but you see, Sadhu was a large white elephant.
Yes, it's time for Armchair Adventures. Tales of crime, mystery, romance, and comedy. Now, here's your storyteller, Marvin Miller, and Armchair Adventure, The White Elephant.
Waribo glanced out of the grilled window of his palace and moaned. Out in the enclosure, stamping around in the warm sun, was Sadhu, a white elephant, a worthless, expensive, burdensome white elephant. The little king gritted his teeth. Someday he would get even with his brother, that worthless, conniving, tricking brother of his. What a left-handed gift this was. His brother had never been worth anything, and this elephant was just like him. He shuddered as he realized how much food it would take to feed the big hulking beast. It would ruin him. And everybody was beginning to laugh. He had to put a stop to that right away. Out on the rim of the forest, he could see the work elephants lifting teak wood logs in their strong trunks, rolling them toward the wooden wagons. Oh, those animals were useful. They earned their keep. But that specimen out there, gleaming in the sun... Waribo turned away.
Honorable Sadhu, we have made up our royal mind. We shall shoot you.
He paused and ran his fingers through his beard.
No, but wait. A king must do a thing like this with caution and diplomacy. We must figure out a way to point laughter at somebody else. Yes. Waribo will be munificent, generous, charitable. Waribo will bestow the honorable white elephant on a friend.
So he gathered all the leaders of the city together at his court. They stood around the richly furnished room, their faces smiling beneath their snow-white turbans. The king rose to his full height. A sly smile played around his lips, for this was the supreme moment. He would choose the worst swine of the lot and make an official presentation to him before all of them. That would teach them to laugh at their exalted ruler. His eyes shifted around the room. Finally, they lit on Karo Hasid, a man he detested with all the hatred he was capable of holding. There was the man. Ah, yes. The king was about to speak when Karo Hasid stepped forward.
Your Majesty, we of your people wish to honor our king.
Waribo's eyes were puzzled. What was this all about?
Yes, go ahead.
Knowing your Majesty's recent good fortune in becoming the owner of a handsome white elephant, we have fashioned a silver mounting for it, and we present it to you now.
He clapped his hands. A native boy hurried in and laid the gift at the feet of the little king. For a moment the monarch saw red, and the veins stood out on his throat. It was a trick to keep him from disposing of the elephant. The impertinence of these infidels, these donkeys. He was about to speak again when they all bowed out. Karo Hasid leaned forward.
Your Majesty, we trust you will have much happiness with the elephant and with our gift to you. Peace be with you.
And then the devils were gone. The king clenched his fists. They were laughing at him. They were laughing at him. In a purple rage, he grabbed a whip and hurried to the enclosure outside the palace. The elephant looked at him out of his little pig-like eyes and bobbed his head up and down in friendly fashion.
You ugly, hulking tub of fat.
Waribo lashed the animal in fury, but the elephant did not move. The king was breathless as he beat the poor beast.
Get out of here. Get out of the city. Out of my palace yard. Go sing in the lake. But get out of here.
He stepped away breathless, his energy spent, but the animal didn't budge. His heavy legs remained rooted to the ground like tree trunks. The king summoned his last strength, and again the whip rang against the smooth white body of the giant elephant.
Go away! Go away! Get out of my sight, you son of the devil, you white monstrosity!
Suddenly a hand reached out, and firm fingers stopped him.
Don't do that. Stop it.
The king turned around. Who dared stop the king of Killarney? He looked into the face of a man past middle age, an Englishman or an American, with a hard but friendly face, old but curiously strong and powerful looking.
Who are you? How dare you stop our hand, the hand of the king?
I don't care who you are, mister. Just let me tell you something. You'll never train an animal to do anything that way.
How dare you speak so?
Listen, partner, I know what I'm talking about. I was an animal trainer for many years. Now, just watch me.
The king began to smile. Maybe this was his chance to dispose of the elephant. Americans were all fools.
Very well, Sahib.
Hand me the whip, will you?
The newcomer took the whip and tossed it over the fence. The king was about to protest when the animal trainer spoke again.
What's the animal's name?
Sadhu.
The man walked over and softly ran his hand along the elephant's side. At first the beast trembled. Then it responded to the caressing touch of kind fingers. The king stood off slightly amused, for this madman was actually talking to the beast, talking to him in low, understanding tones.
Hello, Sadhu. You're a handsome fella. Old Bill's your friend. You and I are going to be great pals.
The animal's eyes blinked. Then he seemed to nod, and his trunk rubbed softly against the man's wide back. Old Bill turned to the king.
You, wanted to get him out of his stockade, right?
Waribo nodded.
Well, just watch me.
He strode over to the entrance.
Sadhu, old fella, come here. Come, follow old Bill.
The animal waddled toward the entrance without the slightest hesitation.
You see?
The king started toward the gate, preparing to close it to shut the elephant out. But old Bill had started his second trick.
Now, sir, just watch.
He walked back into the stockade.
Sadhu, here, fella.
The animal turned and shuffled back into the enclosure.
You see, Mr. King? The animal even comes back into his prison where he's been beaten, if you have the right approach.
But that, Sahib, is because he does not have any wisdom. He is one big tub of ignorance.
No, I don't think so. But, well, so long. I'll be seeing you.
Waribo reached out a hand. He mustn't let this man get away. It might be his chance to get rid of the white elephant.
Wait, Sahib. For this lesson, Waribo, me, would like to invite you to partake of the food. You will dine with me, the king? Yes?
Old Bill shrugged. Why not? It wasn't often a poor traveler was invited to dine with a royal monarch, even if the kingdom was only a two-bit one. At dinner, Waribo maliciously and cunningly laid his plans for the disposal of the elephant. This American was the perfect, sucker. Old Bill, in turn, related his story to the gimlet-eyed king.
Gordon's my name. Old Bill, they call me. I was an animal trainer for a long time back in the good old USA. Played in circuses, big time. But they fired me last year, said I was too old. So I started to wander around because I wanted to see what made the world tick. And here I am.
You, like the animals, huh?
Yes, King, I do. I've found them better friends and a lot more intelligent than most human beings.
Sahib like animals, Waribo like Sahib. Sadhu like Sahib. So Waribo gives Sadhu the white elephant to new friend. How do you like this?
Well, you mean you want to give me that elephant for keeps? For good?
Yes. Waribo give it to you for gift.
Well, gee, thank you. I can't say I've ever had an elephant given to me before. Thanks a lot.
For weeks, the joke of the court was the stupid American who had taken the white elephant into the forest with him. The king boasted to all his subjects of his devilish cleverness. But old Bill and Sadhu didn't know anything about this. Together in the lush green forest, they romped and played, became friends, and shared their thoughts and pleasures. Bill would talk to Sadhu, talk to him not as to an inferior animal, but as a man talks to a man. Bill rode on Sadhu's smooth white back, and they skirted the forest, the leaves of the trees brushing Bill's head like garlanded wreaths. They would swim together in the cool forest lake. And once again Bill felt young in the sunshine and the cool shade, young in this new, unusual companionship. Each day they journeyed to the city for food. The king willingly gave them provisions, anxious to keep his joke alive. But then one day when Bill was in the palace visiting the king, there was a sudden rumbling of the earth. At first low and menacing, Then the buildings with their marble columns began to shake. The very palace of the king began to tremble. Men and women ran out into the streets, and the donkeys and work elephants stampeded toward the forest. Out in the courtyard, only Sadhu remained. Sadhu, the white elephant, waiting patiently for his master, in spite of the shivering earth and its threats of destruction. The king, frantic, turned to Bill.
Run! Run for your life! The old gods speak beneath the earth. The palace will fall.
His cloak swirled around his legs as he ran down the long hallway. Bill called out to him.
Wait! Where are you going?
My jewels! My jewels, the precious treasure of Kilani, are in the North Tower. I must save them!
He disappeared up the winding stairway, and Bill hurried toward the courtyard. Just as he reached the entrance, the stairs collapsed in a rending and tearing of timber and crumbling stone. That was all Bill remembered. Up in the tower, King Waribo called in vain above the din of the earthquake.
Help me! Get me out! The stairs are no more! I'm trapped! Save me!
He seized the bars of the grill in the treasure room and looked down helplessly into the courtyard, far below. The only sign of life was the blundering form of Sadhu, the useless white elephant. Even in his despair, Waribo reflected that the animal was too stupid to leave the doomed city, in spite of the weaving earth and crumbling walls. Sadhu was diligently at work uprooting a massive pile of debris just below the tower. The king cursed the animal for his utter stupidity. He was a white elephant indeed. But then he gasped, for Sadhu had uncovered the stricken figure of Old Bill. Tenderly, the elephant lifted the man onto his broad, wide back and triumphantly bore him out of the city to safety.
You've been listening to another Armchair Adventure, brought to you this time. Now back to your storyteller, Marvin Miller.
You know, religious beliefs are closely connected with the family life of Americans. To many people, the strong ties which bind them to their families are caught up in the memories of religious teaching in the home. But faith in any religion is recognized as the equal right of every American citizen. We have over 250 different denominations. The existence of so many denominations is a basic example of democracy at work. Freedom of worship is one of our rights, and as citizens we recognize our two responsibilities. First, to know what our rights are, and second, to defend those rights.
This is Marvin Miller inviting you to join us again at the same time for another Armchair Adventure. Don't be late. I'll expect you right on time.
Armchair Adventures is a transcribed Columbia Pacific production.
Marvin Miller's Armchair Adventures has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television.